Another fine day, another wonderful day, another beautiful day. We get together and we have conversations. We get together and we talk with persons who are making things happen in our community. Talk with persons who are making life better for our community. One of those persons is Charles Njoya. Um, just don't want to talk about the investments he's making financially, but physically visiting, talking to persons. We always say on the segment, there is this free consultation that they offer. So many people have spoken. By the way, weekend I was with Dr. Tanga, and he was telling me about the wonderful meeting he had with him and things like that. And I was like, "But why you guys? Why is it that in our community, when someone does something good to us, we only want to tell them personally? We only want to tell persons who are close to them. Why don't we go and broadcast these things on social media the same way we broadcast other people's whatever bad messages or whatever? I think that's one thing in 2025 we should start doing. Learn to the white people call it review, right? Learn to do public review, put out public testimonies of what people are doing good in our community, which is one thing Tuesday is huge on. I'll bring my boss in and we'll talk about something we so many persons don't worry me all this time. Wanted us to. We talked about it already, but according to them, okay, maybe it was not really structured, or they had their own questions that I did not ask. We'll go ahead today and talk about the those questions. Boss, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning to day. It's another bright day. It's another bright week. Excited to be here. And again, it's always a pleasure to speak to the community and see how we can add value to the community, to ourselves, and keep winning. Our goal is to win, and we are here to win. Let's win.
Yeah, one of the questions that we received, especially this weekend, for most of the persons that they watch the show, most of them are looking at starting their own business. Most of them are looking at starting something. So the same will talk about small business. By the way, for you, what be a definition for small business?
Small business is anything. I think the definition on the market is about $10 million called small business.
Mhm,
But small business is anything that you start from mom and pop shop to anything that's going to make you money.
mhm,
And when I look at small business, the problem we have with small businesses is that small businesses have tended to remain small.
mhm,
um, our small businesses, we should go away from this term of small business and start thinking about how do we become relevant to the community. Not only by starting small, we
mhm,
can become a very, very large company. So
mhm,
every time you start a small business, you're not starting it because you want to just make cash flow. You're
mhm,
thinking about how you want to create a legacy. Every large company we see today started small.
mhm.
And we should think about getting our companies just from being a small mom and pop shop to getting to that place where we call ourselves a conglomerate is something, whatever you want to call yourself. It's all about the vision you have. Our vision should not be limited to small business. It should be bigger than just having a small business, but we start small.
Why do you think it's important to from the beginning? Because some people feel like, okay, let me just jump in there and do whatever I'm doing. Because I think that was the challenge I had with 3D for a very long time. It was more of a hobby for me. It was more of okay, I just like this thing. So even when I was supposed to transition, it was kind of like I don't know if I should use the word difficult, but I had that challenge. Why do you think it's really important for if we are starting something, it doesn't matter if we call it small business, we should start with the intent of okay, someday it's going to be as big as maybe what you we call big businesses.
It is so important because a business is a vision. A
Mhm,
business is a vision. You have a vision to do something. If you have a hobby that you are just providing value to individuals and doing certain things or doing it
mhm,
because you like it, that's different. But when you talk about a business, it should be based on a vision. And a
mhm,
vision should be something that changes something, that changes. It changes your community, changes as it changes communities and keep adding layers. It's basically changing the world.
mhm,
That is the vision we should have. So most people start a business just because they want cash flow.
mhm,
Oh, I don't get money. I try to get something. So you start doing something just because of cash flow. When you think about a business, you should have a vision. And a vision is something that should be bigger than you. It's bigger than you.
mhm,
So it's important that you know that from the point you're starting the business. When I started my business, it wasn't, I didn't, I mean, I know exactly where I want to be in the next 10 years. I know, you know that I know that. I've shown you
Mm-hmm.
that. I know exactly what I want to do in the next 2 years. So I say it out because I want people to assess me on those things in the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
A vision has to be something that is bigger than you. Otherwise, you cannot scale it. You cannot scale it. So that is my game. It's so important that when you start a business, not only seeing it from now, have
Mm-hmm.
a whole how you have to have your business have a budget that shows you where you want to be within the
Mm-hmm.
next 5 years, within the next 10 years. And that's the only way you start building. You start building the business. You start looking at every day's activity. I am very, very crazy about numbers. I'm crazy about numbers because my business is a numbers game. Every time you talk about business, it's a numbers game. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't know your numbers, you don't know your statistics, you don't know how much you spend on a client, on acquiring clients, on serving clients. If you don't have those details, you're not going anywhere. You're wasting your time. You're just doing something that will give you cash flow. But when you know your numbers, you start becoming very, very, it has to be intentional, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have your numbers and you're able to assess yourself on a weekly basis, why is my cost per lead going high? Why is this happening? Why did this not happen this week?
Mm-hmm.
Once you start looking at vision, at your trajectory, you have targets on a weekly basis, targets on a monthly basis, targets on an annual basis, and you're looking at them and making sure that your team, you're meeting them. If you don't have numbers, how do you even know where you're going? So it is absolutely important that you have a vision. And once you clarify your vision, you clarify your what are your core values. Once you clarify them, it
Mm-hmm.
is now where you go to the big company. You start small, but you're going big because you already see the big company. That is important. That is critical for any business. Business should be intentional. It is not just something that comes and falls on you. That's why many people start businesses. Before you know it, they're out of business because they don't have any intention. They just fell into something that was making money, and then all of a sudden the money is changing. They didn't even realize when the market was changing because they didn't
Mm-hmm.
have any, they didn't have any projections. Numbers, business is a numbers game. Many people think bookkeeping is just for fancy. It's not only bookkeeping, you have to go beyond bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is the basis. That's why our communities don't grow businesses because we always think like this. It just happens. It just happens. It has to be intentional.
Boss, tell us about structure. What is structure? You've talked about that so many times, but we, for the purpose of this video, want us, if you can repeat, then what is structure in business?
Structure is everything. Structure is everything. Everything you do is based on a structure. Let me tell you, there are structures that are external structures, and there are structures that are internal structures.
Mm-hmm.
You run a business, when you look at your vision, you can already see the structure you want to be at.
Mm-hmm.
And what is structure? Structure is the way you operate.
Mm-hmm.
You set up your companies according to a structure.
Mm-hmm.
C Corp, inks that you corporate as an ink. It
Mm-hmm.
could be a C Corp, it could be an S Corp. That's a corporation that you just set up. It could also be an LLC, if that's a membership association. A membership association, you can have an LLC, and that LLC you can basically elect to file different types of taxes because LLC means nothing to the IRS. The IRS either knows you as a partnership, which is another structure,
Mm-hmm.
or it knows you as a sole proprietorship. So when you bring so many people there and you say, these are the people who I work with, the IRS will say, okay, it looks like a partnership. So they default you to partnership.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring an LLC and you say, oh, it's only me, the IRS will say, okay, look, this looks like a sole proprietorship. They default you to a sole proprietorship because LLC for the state is for the state. It's a limited liability company.
Company.
It's a membership association that you form in order to do something. People say the LLC is the best of both worlds. We can talk about that. Then you have sole proprietorships. You have things that are just doing business as. You do it under your social security. So those are the different external structures that you have for your business. Then now you have internal structures. What is the organigram of your business looking like? Who is going to be the CEO of the business? What's the board of directors of your business? Who is going to be the officers within the different sectors of your business? Who is running the business on a daily basis? What are their roles and responsibilities for all those people? How do they run it? That's why you have to have a vision, because people get stuck because they don't have any structure in the way they run.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason most people pay crazy on taxes is because of structure. Their structure is crazy. So they just sit down and then, I'll tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. I'm going to say it here very clearly before I even go into having to deal with client. I had this client last week. He came to me, and I'll tell you this. This client came to me. This is a guy. He's a guy who is a guy from our community. He pays about $200,000 in taxes every year, year upon year. Okay. So if you pay $200,000 in taxes year upon year,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. It tells me, okay, then you come to me, and then the first thing I tell you is that, doctor, let's do this. The first thing we're going to do is something called an assessment.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this is a little bit out of your question of a structure, but I want to throw it out there so that people know what we are doing. It is very important that you know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? This guy comes to me. We have this meeting, and then I tell him we have a free discussion, a free discovery call. That's where we get to know people. I talk to him, he talks to me. I do a 1 hour, and I show him that, okay, based on what you're telling me, this is what we basically do. But the first thing I will do for you is something called an assessment. And we have a price for our assessment. We say our assessment, when you come for our assessment, when we have an event, it's $1,997. That's our assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So once we do the assessment, if you come at a one-on-one, that is the second meeting for somebody who is coming to do business because he's overpaying in taxes and things like that. We do $2,497. And that fee is because you want to bring some crazy people to work for you. Not, I've told you that it's not a single person who does your strategy. It's different people who have different. You have an attorney who is part of your strategy building.
Mm-hmm.
A CPA alone cannot do it because he doesn't even have the background. You have an attorney who is going to structure you. You have a financial advisor on the insurance side who should be in the game. You have a financial advisor on the investment side. You have a financial advisor on your retirement side, because these are all well-building buckets for you. You have the accountants. You have the tax strategist. You have the real estate broker, because these are places where the tax code is extremely lenient. You have real estate broker. You have the loan officer, and then you have energy experts to come and help structure it. So now these people come based on the information. We have an onboarding session which we obtain information from you on all these things, and then we ask you where you want to be within the next 5 to 10 years. You're like, okay, first of all, I want to save on taxes. Do you have a trust? Do you have a this? And I don't have them. You want to save on taxes. You want to protect your assets. You want to build wealth. Now, what is wealth building to you? Where do you want to be within the next 5, 10 years? You're like, okay, I want to own properties. I want to do this. We say, okay. So we take that information. We go now into our place where we analyze that information to prepare a plan for you going forward. So that plan, number one about that plan is to save you on taxes. You're paying $200. Maybe if we start early and we agree, we can save you all that $200 based on what we do. If we save you $150, that's still a lot. So now, once we bring you those things, we have tax savings, we have asset protection. We are going to do a trust, a healthcare power of attorney, all those things. We're going to talk to you with all these people I just named to you. And then we're going to do what? Start building, taking that money that we just took from Uncle Sam, which was the savings, and then start building it and making assets. So we have all of this. We have a clear plan for a person who is paying $200,000 in taxes a year. And then we tell you, okay, we show you a plan, which is a pretty straightforward plan on how to save you on taxes. You're like, oh no, I know this one, I know this one, I know this one, I know this one. Then why are you paying $200,000 in taxes if you know all these things? Why are you paying $200,000? No, because I have read this one, I've read this one. I say, okay, you're paying. But if you want to work with us,
All of these things that I just showed you, we are going to do your 2024 and even save you more on taxes. But all of these things for you to do and then save all these taxes for 2025, you pay me $20,000. It's like, oh, the world has come to an end. Oh no, this is not this is it. It's too expensive. I'm like crazy. I tell you, we have a guarantee for you. We give you all these things and they do this. I ask you, Mr. Doctor, when I come to your office for 10 minutes, how much do I pay you? Why do you feel that the other people's job should be paid for zero? I mean, this is our community. And then you leave our community, go to the next one. The market tells Charles that we are killing the market because our prices are too low. And then we are trying to give value to people. I mean, this is just madness. I'm saying it here because madness. It is madness. I created money that doesn't exist for you, and I tell you, give me, and then you think that we are thugs. We are trying to take money. We are trying to seize money. We're trying to do this. We are in a place where our mindsets are just there's a problem with us.
But boss, based on what you just come over talk now, it means people wanted to get into businesses, start a small business, especially for our community. They should not really worry about funding because you already have ideas where they can go and get the funding they need. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We have ideas on how to get funding. We have people who can help you with that. But the problem is there's a process to doing that. Mm-hmm. We have to be ready. Most people come empty. They want you to work for them for free. Most people who are starting businesses, they are not ready even to invest in the business. If somebody comes and invests in me for doing all of that, I have people who are qualified to do those things, but they are not for free. When you ask for an attorney to go and work for you, is it for free? You ask for a CPA to go and work for you, it's not for free. So these things they don't come for free. If you want to build business, you and I, we're going on a program. How much did we pay for that program? We're going to speak for 30 minutes. How much did we pay? We paid $120,000. You and I.
Yeah.
You know that. Mm-hmm. So do we pay that because people should learn how to invest? If you don't invest, you just come to Charles and say, Charles, I'm not saying that everybody will be paying some crazy amount, but people should be prepared. If you want to go to do proper things, do it with the right people. And if you do it with the right people, there's a price. People have to take care of their homes.
Yeah.
They have to pay their bills. Some people come and tell me that, Charles, I just want you to do it. When we make money, we'll pay you. I say, okay. When we make money, we'll pay you. You know, if you show me value, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay. I tell you, that's not the way it works. In America, you don't have money, you cannot build. We are a capitalist society. Mm-hmm. Capitalism means if I don't pay my bills, where do I go? I am out of the home. Mm-hmm. That's the same with the people, all the people we have here. We should be ready to build wealth, and wealth has a price. It has a price to pay.
Now, why wanting to start that small business? Is it necessary to start thinking about employees? If yes, what are the benefits of bringing people in?
No. Businesses in America don't need structure to start. Mm-hmm. Let me repeat that. Businesses in America don't need structures to start. Mm-hmm. Start making money. Go out there. There's a business when there's a buyer and a seller. Mm-hmm. That's a business. Go out there. If you have any idea that sells, start selling it. When there's a buyer and a seller, that business has to create the money to structure it. Mm-hmm. So you do the 1, 2, 3. Once you sell for 3 people, guess what? You start getting the money to go and do the LLC. Don't go and build LLCs and be moving with a bucket with a back saying that this is my business. That's no business. People move and say, do you have a business? No, I have an LLC. That's not a business. A business is because it's a buyer and a seller. When there's a transaction, there is a business. Without any transaction, there is no business. You're just moving with a bunch of paper in a suitcase, in a briefcase. That doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. So go and start selling. Go and start buying. Once you do 1, 2, 3, then you still have the money coming from the business to go and structure it. America doesn't need you to structure before you start business. Unless there are about 5% of businesses that require you by the rules of certain states to obtain certain type of licenses. But apart from that, all other businesses is just a buy and sell. Because America lives on businesses. They don't put any type of bottlenecks in starting the business. 99% of America's money you see is coming from the private sector. The government doesn't create money. It's the private sector that creates the wealth of America. So the government has given them all the tools in the tax code for them to do more, and given them what you call capital. That's why we're a capitalist country, to go and do those things you want to do.
Now, boss, we learned about permits to start. I don't know if that it works like that also in America, but I know where I come from. They say, oh, you have to go pay this, go pay that, go pay all of these things. Are these permits necessary before we start that small business?
They're not. 90% of the businesses we start, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
it's a buyer and a seller. You sell to him, he buys. That's a business.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us start businesses without even knowing that we've started a business. If I came to you and I told you that, hey, Sako, there's a deal here. Let's do this. Give me. You pay for that deal because it was sweet enough. I sweetened it enough, and you can buy it because you see value in it. You just started a business. And then if the next person comes and does the same thing, a business has been born. 90% of businesses don't need those things. Now, when you start the business, do you have to structure it? Yes, you have to.
Okay.
You have to. And now when the business starts making and it becomes a business, it's no longer a hobby in your mindset. The first thing, you have to put the structures in place. Reporting systems. Most people, when you tell somebody in our community that, hey, why can't you open a group home? They say, no, I don't want to touch that thing. People are going to jail for that. I say, okay, you know why people are going to jail? Because they don't have a system. People go and then they start making money out of a system, out of something. You're taking money from Medicaid. As a business, you're taking money from the government. People just go because at times we believe that the government doesn't make any. They don't review. We just start pulling. They tell you that put an accounting system, put your timesheet. So, make sure the timesheets are done A, B, C. Make sure you do A, B, all those things. We don't have a system for it because it's expensive. We say no, that thing expensive, so you don't do it. Guess what? 3 years down the line, the IRS sends you, or maybe Medicaid, the Department of State sends you, of Human Services, they send you a letter. That, can you explain this one thing? That's the end of the business because you didn't have anything. That's why structure is key.
Yeah.
It is not cheap to do structures. Go online and just type, what does it cost to do accounting or do this? You will see the percentage. They tell you the ratios of your business that are being used for business, to do this, to do that, to do that. If you are running a business in this country and you are thinking that, okay, maybe I cannot do this because it's too expensive, don't do that. Don't touch it because you go to jail. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. If it's too expensive for you to run the business, it means that it's expensive for you. Just leave the business alone.
Oh.
Administration is key for every business in this country. Because the government, because you are being given, it's easy to start. Mm-hmm. They make it easy. So you are easy, you just do one thing, they pay you, do the other one, they pay you, so you don't even have a system of reporting. What are the underlying that support what you're billing? You don't have it. Mm-hmm. Then very soon you start complaining about the system. It's not the system, it's you. You are the problem.
Wow.
I see it all the time in our communities. I see it all the time. All the time.
Wow. So boss, tell us about working with people like you, or not just a CPA, persons with a team of members who are not only going to help structure you, but stay there with you along the way until you get to where you're going. Why is it important to involve people?
It's important because everything you do in this country, you need to be mentored. Mm-hmm. You need to be mentored. Everything you do that is taking your money or bringing you money, you need a mentorship. You need people who can structure you. We just talked about structure being key to everything. Mm-hmm. If you don't know something, I just told you about the physician. If you're a physician or you are this, you are that, you're making money and you believe that, okay, those things, you want to do all those things, you want to make a business out of this thing, you have to know that there's a cost associated to it. And if you want to grow that thing, or you don't want to pay taxes are very dangerous areas in America. Mm-hmm. In as much as we say that America doesn't need you to pay taxes, America, the tax code says that if you must pay taxes, you must pay them. Mm-hmm. You cannot avoid them. And the basis of everything you do has to be kept, because the key is documentation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the key is documentation. Now they give you things that you can do to avoid those things. You need people who can accompany you. That's why I told you that one person cannot do it. I alone don't do it. In a team, if you come to my team and you don't see these people I'm talking about, then run. Run. Because everything in America is what? Is regulated, and there's somebody who has a license particular to doing only that thing. Everything. It's not like you come to a place where you and I come from. Everybody does everything. The one man can do this, he can sign this, he can do that, he can do that. In America, it's not like that. You must have licenses to touch everything, especially when it comes to financial services, taxes, dealing with the stock market, buying real estate, investing in this, struggling with that. Everything is regulated. That's why you have an attorney to do your paperwork. If you don't do it those are the reasons you need to have a team to accompany you. If you have a bigger vision, you need to have a team that can carry that vision. If you think that you can do it alone, guess what? You're just one person.
That's true. And that's one thing I learned from you. The fact that the team is there. Once you start thinking team, you are thinking growth. One thing I learned from you is any person who thinks community is actually thinking growth. It's difficult for you to think you're going to invest in people and you're not going to get it. Will be difficult, except you probably don't understand what you're doing. Boss, to conclude, we have so many people who are making good money. They're in the $500,000, $1 million, $2 million from a 9 to 5. Do you think it would be a good idea for them to just start anything on the side known as business?
Always good. Let me tell you something. I told this before. I say that, America was built with the sweat, with the blood of you and I, our parents. It was built with the blood of our people through slavery. They worked crazily to do that. And then the people who owned the slaves, were they working hard? They were having fun, drinking, smoking, and doing all their things. These people were working in the farms, being beaten to work, being wounded, being killed to do those things. Right? So there came a time that because of norms of the society, it had to end. Right? When it ended, did America stop being built? No. So now what does America do? Now that this thing has ended, what do? We have to structure in a way that we can incentivize those same people to come and build. Those same people to come and build. So what do? We basically make America as attractive. We make sure people come here, they can go to school, they can do things, they can do that. We give them what they don't have in their countries. And then we make sure that only the best people from those places can come here. So there's some sort of a brain drain, a system that attracts the best people towards America, because America cannot do it by itself. So what did they do? So basically the world now, America, this thing, capitalism, they made it become the best thing on the planet. It worked. Go to any place in the world. I mean, even in France, in UK, ask them that what is the next best place you want to go to? In Africa, everybody would say, I want to go to America. Everybody.
That's true.
Everybody would say, I want to go to America. And then when they come to America, America opens the doors. Let me tell you, I used to be in Europe, in the UK, all those places, I used to be there. If you ask any person who has been in these countries and has visited America once, they will tell you this is the place to live. Why? Because America welcomes people. I mean, regardless of what you think about the current administration and things, it welcomes people. So now when you came to America, America will make you start getting those things that you cannot get. In the UK, you spend a year, it's hard to get a driver's license. I mean, maybe it's changed. It's even hard to get a driver. Here you come within a day, they tell you first, drive your own, do this, everything. That's why people who come to America, they come to stay. They don't come there to go. When you come here, the system tells you that, because you're here, you can actually go to school. You can go to those schools that you've been dreaming. You can go to any of those schools. You just have to qualify. Our people, most of them, they qualify. And when they qualify, the system gives you the money. The financial system, the capitalist market invests in your going to school. So now when you come out of those schools, those people you are talking about, you come out of those schools, what do? You get a big job, right? You get that big job what's paying you the $500,000 you're talking about. So what do? That $500,000, the tax code, that $1,000,000, $500,000 you just made is called operating income, ordinary activity income. That income pays a lot in taxes. So the higher you earn in ordinary activity income, the more taxes you will pay. So when you earn that money, you're in the 37% tax bracket for federal, which means you're almost pay, if you're making, I don't want to go, I don't have the numbers, but you're paying 37% of that money in taxes. And then for states, if you're in a state like California, you're paying almost 13% of that money in taxes. That's 50% of your income going somewhere. And if you're like me who thinks rationally, I went to school, and then on that money that's remaining, I have to pay the loan that you gave me plus the interest. I have to pay all the other things that are there plus the interest. So you have made a lot of money. That's why doctors, you see them with $500,000 in student loans. All this money in student loans. They are paying interest on that money. But guess what? When they make that $500,000, they are going to pay half of it to Uncle Sam, because that's ordinary activity income. What is that called? If that is not slavery, what is slavery? So you've been told to help work the system the same way. Now you're working and you're paying that money to the government. The government can now take that same money, and so you're a slave to the system. But they tell you as well that you can basically become part of those people who are structured to build a system, because the American system as a capitalist system, first of all, capitalism means greed. It's greedy. It's a greedy system. But everybody who understands this has to pull the blanket on their side. So they tell you that if you structure, you start doing what the government cannot do, you too can avoid those taxes. And one of the things that the government cannot do is build businesses. In every country that I've mentioned, they have a national investment company. National investment company. The government owns a national. In Cameroon, we have SNI. In every other country, they have a national. In China, they have the China National Investment Company or something like that. So all those companies, what do? They are investing in the private sector. So they are part of the private sector running of the system. In America, you don't have that. America, the government makes the rules, you play the game. And the government has to incentivize you. If I don't have any incentive to do that, why will I do it?
Do it.
So the incentive comes from what? It comes from the tax code. So they say that if you own a business and you're hiring people, you get the tax deduction. If you own a business, you can deduct some of the things that you do. You own a business, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. So basically, owning a business, to answer your question, yes, owning a business will help. But is it structured correctly? 99% of the time, it's not structured. Most of the people go and build an LLC, and then they try to funnel some expenses inside, which in most cases are maybe evading taxes through those buckets. So you have to structure in a particular way. Owning a business is correct, but you have to own the right businesses and structure it the right way. So my answer to that is yes, you own a business. But how do you manage that business is something you don't know. You have to meet strategists for them to help you do that.
Wow, boss, thank you very, very much. I think we are already the 30 minutes.
I am sorry I took you all
no. That was at least we had enough information on that. Any person who feels like, okay, you know what, I want more, there's a free consultation on www.chnadvisors. Go there, use that first, and then maybe if you want more, definitely you're going to want more. You never hear this man talk. You never hear this man talk. You'll blow your mind. You realize you don't waste so much of your time doing whatever you were doing, and that is why we beg him every day, every Mondays and Thursdays to be here so we can ask our questions. Now, if you have any other questions, you can reach out to them on give me 1 second. My pool, yeah, CHN Advisors. His name is Charles Njoya on all social media platforms. His platform is CHN Advisors. The website is chnadvisors.com. Go there and get you the information that you need. Ask as many questions as possible. If you plan to start that small business, reach out to them, and I think they have a lot they can give to you, boss. What
A
will
lot
be
of resources.
yeah?
And
What will
when
be
you
your
come,
yeah?
And when you come to book these things with our company, that you came from Toride, there's always a place there to tell you, to asking you where did you come from? Right
Mhm.
there to use choose Toride, because we have specific bonus programs for people who come through this platform. Again, like I say, our game is in us having the right mindsets, being ready to play the game. The game will come at some you having to sacrifice one or two things in one place or the other. Anything, nothing is easy. I didn't come here to stand here and say that, oh, doing this is easy. Nothing is easy. If it were easy, everybody will make it, will do it.
Good. That's true.
Nothing is easy. But you have to come, you have to basically do what you call, it has to be intentional. If you want to do something and you think that it's going to be easy, what you call easy is equivalent to what we call your comfort zone. Comfort
Mhm.
zone takes you to
To
nonsense.
nowhere.
It takes you nowhere. So there is, you have to be intentional and say, I want to do this, I want to win, I want to be at this place within the next 5 years, and then we are here to accompany you in that game.
Boss, thank you very much for today. Thank you very much for your time. Maybe we'll talk later after this for plan for the next session. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Guys, go ahead and like I said, the website is www.chnadvisors. Go ahead and check them out. They have a free consultation already available. Use that, and then but I'll tip on something. He has so many videos on social media, whether it's Facebook, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube. How about you start visiting those pages? Visit those pages, look for the videos you need, look for the videos, the projects you want to jump on, and learn a thing or two. That way, when you go to meet him, because this is one thing I always tell persons, when you go to meet a professional, when you are knowledgeable, you can get more from that professional than when you go to meet a professional when you don't have adequate knowledge about what you're talking about. What I'm trying to say is, if you already have deep knowledge on the subject matter, the type of questions you ask will even get you to know if the person you're talking to is good enough for you. But if you don't have any ideas, if you don't have any knowledge, you're just shallow. Guess what? That's how you go there and you not ask deep questions, and you will just get shallow answers, or you get shallow uh, 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 results, and that's it. So I always suggest or advise people to make sure you visit their website, make sure you visit their Facebook, make sure you visit their social media, make sure you visit their YouTube, and watch some of the videos they have done already on most of these topics we are even discussing now, or what you even want to talk to them about. That way you can get the basic questions answered, and then it can even shape you on what questions to ask when you meet them. Thank you very much. See you guys on Monday for 30 minutes with $1 million with Charles Njoya. But other than that, we have so much going on Toride. So many wonderful things going on Toride. You want to check us out.